Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. This is going to be a very interesting post, and at the end, I'm going to ask the question: are we the people of this world? Truman Burbank. Are we all Jim Carrey in the movie The Truman Show? And if you haven't seen that film, I recommend you check it out. Very important film in terms of cluing us into what's going on in this world. And we'll address that question more at the end of this video. But what we're going to talk about is what's supposed to happen this summer in the United States. On August 21st, for the first time in 99 years, there's going to be a solar eclipse that can be seen from coast to coast of the United States of America. From the Pacific Northwest to the Southeast, from Oregon State to South Carolina. So NASA just wrote an article about this lunar eclipse, very special, first time in 99 years this has happened. They wrote their article January 5th, 2017, and I'm going to show you why they wrote it on this specific date. It's no accident that the article by NASA is coming out January 5th about the August 21st solar eclipse. So here's what they wrote. On Monday, August 21st, 2017, millions in the U.S. will have their eyes to the sky as they witness a total solar eclipse. The moon's shadow will race across the United States from Oregon to South Carolina. What's interesting about it starting in Oregon, which if you don't know your geography, that's one state below Washington, which is the most northwest state. Oregon also used to be the massive territory that included Washington State, once upon a time, the Oregon Trail. Oregon is the 33rd state in order of statehood. Oregon, the 33rd state, the word eclipse equals 33 in gematria. So does the word the sun. And this will be the moon blocking out the sun, causing an eclipse, which a total eclipse will be seen in Oregon State, the 33rd state. The moon's shadow will race across the United States from Oregon to South Carolina. The path of this shadow, also known as the path of totality, is where observers will see the moon completely cover the sun. And thanks to the elevation data of the moon from NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, or LRO, coupled with detailed NASA topography data of Earth, we have the most accurate maps of the path of totality for the eclipse to date. So that's the news from NASA. We'll get to why they wrote this January 5th in just a moment. Here's the gematria of eclipse. Oregon's the 33rd state in order of statehood. The abbreviation for Oregon is OR, which equals 33. We'll talk more about what's interesting to Oregon in regards to this event in just a moment. The date of the event, August 21st, 2017, a date with 66 numerology. Revelation, the final book of the Bible, the book of prophecy and destruction, the book where trumpets are the warnings. Here in 2017, we have the trumpets, ticket taking the White House. Been a lot of revelation coding. In Revelation, eclipses are mentioned. They're biblical, they're symbolic. There's a lot of parallels between Jesus and an eclipse. They say an eclipse happened when Jesus was crucified, which we'll get to. Oregon has many connections to the crucifix where this eclipse is to begin. It's also a date with a 39 numerology, life lesson number 39, revelation based on the 39 books of the Old Testament, which the Jewish faith goes by. The moon, eclipses, very important to the Jewish faith, which we'll talk about. It's going to be a date with 21 numerology. The word Bible equals 21. I think something very biblical in terms of a planned, staged event will take place around the time of this eclipse. The powers that shouldn't be, the Freemasons, the Zionists, the Jesuits, they love to incorporate astrology into their wrongdoing in this world. Won't be surprised at all if they have something planned around the time of this eclipse. Hold on, Truth Seeker. Phone call, right? All right, we're back. So August 21st, 2017 will be the 233rd day of the year. 233 is the 13th Fibonacci number. And again, 13 relevant to this solar eclipse because it's the first time in 99 years that this has happened. First time from coast to coast that people can make out this total solar eclipse. When you write out 13 as a word, it sums to 99. First time in 99 years. Think about 13 in regards to this nation. 13 colonies, 13 stripes, 13 years of public school programming. U.S.A. equals 41. 41's the 13th prime. So here, this date of the eclipse, the 233rd day, a day connecting to 13. August 21st, 2017 in Gematria sums to 133. Just another 33 in there, eclipse 33. From the date of the NASA article to the date of the eclipse, January 5th, the date NASA wrote its article, to August 21st, 228 days. And that is super fascinating because this is an eclipse for the United States of America. United States of America, 228. You know that phrase, death to America? When you realize that death in English gematria equals 228, becomes all the more interesting. Just a little side note there. From January 5th, the date of the article, to August 21st is also a span of 229 days. 229 is the 50th prime number. America, 50, 50 states. Solar eclipse for the U.S. Now they say on the day Jesus was crucified, there was a total solar eclipse. The sun's light was blocked out. Total solar eclipse in Jewish gematria equals 704. The Greek name for Jesus, Yeshua, equals 704. The Bible first retranslated in Greek. Yeshua, 704. Total solar eclipse, 704. God's Son, the sun in the sky. I want to remind you how important this number 74 is. English equals 74, Gematria 74, Holiday 74, Jesus 74, Cross 74. The Greek spelling of Jesus can also be Y''SHUA, which equals 74. The English translation of the name Jesus is Joshua, Joshua 74. But anyway, Cross 74, Messiah 74, Gospel 74, which is the story of Jesus. First 4 books of the New Testament. Holiday 74, Masonic, Jewish, occult. This whole gematria thing, it's based on the alphabetic order. Think about how here in the United States, Independence Day is 7/4, a lot like 74. Independence Day equals 74. There's also parallels between the name Jesus and the name Lucifer, a name used one time only in the King James Version of the Bible. Lucifer 74. And out of the 50 states, only one sums to 74, Oregon, where it will begin, Oregon. But here, I want to talk about this parallel between Lucifer and Jesus, which both sum to 74. In the Bible, right here, just about everybody knows the word Lucifer as another name for Satan. The word Lucifer is found one time in the King James Bible, in the book Isaiah. Isaiah equals 47, the reflection is 74. Isaiah 14:12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down in the ground, which didst weaken the nations? So that's the King James Version. They say Francis Bacon, who was also Shakespeare, wrote the King James Version. The O's, you know. In the New International Version, it's this way. The word Lucifer is clean, bald-headed, gone, and now this creature is identified as the morning star. So only in the King James Version is Lucifer used. In all other versions, a different word. In the New International Version, it's the word morning star instead of Lucifer. Lucifer is the morning star. It is written, how you have fallen from heaven, O morning star, instead of O Lucifer, son of the dawn. You have been cast down to earth, you who once laid low the nations, son of the dawn. So, Real quick on the gematria of Isaiah. Isaiah 47, the reflection of 74, beast 47, Christian 47, authority 47, framework, foundation. The Freemasons have Euclid's 47th problem about how to establish a foundation using the North Star. So here we go. So in the New International Version, let's just read. So we know that in the New International Version, the morning star is a negative evil figure, right? He was fallen from heaven. He was cast down to earth. Can we find the morning star anywhere else in the New International Version Bible? Yes. The following passages in the New International Version show the morning star as Jesus Christ. Real quick about the name Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ equals 151, which is the 36th prime number. And if you count the numbers 1 through 36, they total 666, the number of the beast from Revelation. But the New International Version just called the fallen creature of Isaiah 14:12 morning star. Lucifer and Jesus are one in the New International Version. Lord have mercy, Jesus. Help me, Lord. By the way, when I took these screen captures from, this is a Christian website. This isn't someone trying to dog Jesus or Christianity. This is a Christian trying to make sense of why it's this way in the Bible. And here I am trying to give a little more insight. So Revelation 22:16 in the New International Version. I, Jesus, have sent my angel to give you this testimony for the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David and the bright morning star. We say the sun is a star in the sky. The most, the closest star to us, keeping us warm, making life possible. New International Version, Peter 1:19. And we have the word of the prophets made more certain, and you will do well to pay attention to it, as to a light shining in a dark place until the day dawns and the morning star rises in your hearts. I will also give him the morning star. That's from Revelation 2:28. 2:28. Hello, NASA's article 229 days before this solar eclipse. Look at the gematria of morning star, Truth Seeker. 58, just like the word star itself. Just like Freemasonry, just like secret society, just like Annuit Coeptus. Remember, 42 is the number of the Freemasons. Freemason equals 42. The original published Bibles were 42-line Bibles. The New Testament begins with the 42 generations to Jesus. New Testament equals 42, just like Freemason, like astrology, like history, like knowledge, like economics, like architect, like building, like so many things relevant to Freemasonry. The word science also has gematria 58. The name Rod Serling has gematria 58. That's the creator of The Twilight Zone. The first pilot episode of The Twilight Zone came out in the year 58. It's about putting a man on the moon, something that NASA claims it did 11 years later. 58 was also the year NASA was established. Remember, NASA put Armstrong on the moon in the time of Cancer in the year 69. The astrological symbol for Cancer is 69. Cancer is ruled by the moon. Space equals 44 in gematria. Armstrong equals 44. So does the word Cancer. We went to the moon in the time of Cancer. Armstrong. Our entire history as we know it has been contrived by the numbers. So anyhow, here's the part about how this eclipse, it'll be the first time in 99 years that it's gone from coast to coast, and the first time since 1979, February 26th, that there was a total solar eclipse darkening any soil on the United States. But 99, again, the United States of America equals 99, 13 equals 99. Nation that began with 13 colonies, 13 stripes. How weird is it that it's been 99 years since this happened? How can this even be? Stuff blows my mind. But check this out. With regards to it being February 26th, 1979, the last time it happened, total solar eclipse, again, too amazing to me. February 26, 1979 was a date with a life lesson number of 54. Sun, S-U-N, equals 54. Total solar eclipse that day. It was also a date with 36 numerology. Jesus Christ equals 151, the 36th prime. Jesus Christ, solar eclipses, God's Son, the sun in the sky. 226 is also relevant. The word planet equals 226. The word Saturn equals 93. To the occult, to the esoteric, Saturn, the most important planet, the sixth planet from the sun, the most distant to the ancients. Saturn is the keeper of time. In this world that we live in, the sun is truly the keeper of time. Science tells us the sun is 93 million miles away. When you write out 226, it sums to 93. Remember the February 26th, 1993 World Trade Center bombing in New York City on the 74th meridian? With regards to the sun being 93 million miles away, God's Son equals 93. Crucifix equals 93. Jesus on the cross. At the time of the winter solstice, the Southern Cross constellation, the sun at its lowest point, is the story of Jesus and his birth as we know it, a story of astrology. This eclipse starting in Oregon. Oregon is the only state that was established on a date with 93 numerology, February 14th, 1859. Date with 93 numerology. Again, Oregon, the 33rd state, the only that sums to 74. Cross equals 74. Jesus 74. Jesus on the cross at age 33. It's interesting how they coded all of this into Oregon. This was some of my earliest work when I started this study, recognizing that only the 33rd state summed to 74 in light of everything else. And I said, this seems to be some sort of tribute to Jesus in the Bible. Then you do more research, you realize that the original capital of this nation, Philadelphia, a name that comes from Revelation, the final book of the Bible, Revelation about the return of Jesus, God's Son. From that last total eclipse to this one is 38 years, 5 months, and 27 days. 38, very important number to the Jewish faith. Jewish 38, Masonic 38, Cross 38, Jew 38. We'll let a Jewish man in his own words speak about the relevance of the moon to the Jewish people, something I've taught about before. But in this video, I'm just going to show a clip of a Jewish man. And you know what? Let's just do it right here. Let's listen to this Jewish man talk about the sun in regards to the Jewish people. Hold on, Truth Seeker. I got to make sure we're connected here so you can hear this. Got to bump up the volume. Think we're in business. Here we go, Truth Seeker.
So last night, throughout North America and good part of the world, there was a total lunar eclipse where the moon was hidden, partially or totally, for a number of hours. The moon is very special to the Jewish people, not only because the Bible tells us that God created it, but because the moon represents the Jewish people, and the Jewish people are compared to the moon in that they wax and wane. They grow and they become less. The Bible tells us that God first created the two great luminaries, meaning the sun and the moon. And then he designated the sun to rule during the day and the moon at night. The rabbis say, what do you mean the two great luminaries? The moon doesn't have its own energy, its own light. It's only a reflection of the sun. So the Medrash, the legendary interpretation of the Bible, says that God originally created the sun and the moon the same size, with two sources of light. And then the moon came to God and said, hey God, you can't have two kings rule over the same domain. You have to designate one as the chief. And God said to the moon, you're right. Since you opened your mouth and complained, I'm going to reduce you. And that's how the moon was reduced. And God felt bad for the moon. So that's why the stars come out at night, as if they are ministers to the moon. The Jewish people are compared to the moon. We pray that just as this small moon can become big, the Jewish people will once again grow into something very, very special. something very, very unique and something very, very powerful. May the moon represent only good for us. Thank you.
So I'll show you something in gematria real quick that I meant to put in here and I know I forgot. There's also a parallel between the word moon and the word Jews. Moon equals 57. Jews equals 57. And when I first began my research, I read that every 57 years, the moon does a perfect reset in the night sky. And I don't know if that's true, but that was something I read along the way, and I thought that was so interesting in regards to the fact that the word moon has gematria 57. And there's all sorts of information out there on the Jews and the moon. When he was talking about the Jews becoming big and then going small, he's talking about how throughout history it's been reported that the Jews have nearly been wiped off the face of the earth only to return more whole. You know, we kind of get that story with the Holocaust and World War II, which is all based on propaganda by the numbers. So here's the path starting in Oregon, sweeping across the U.S. They're saying this is where the longest eclipse will be seen, this part of the country. Coming down through South Carolina. This part right here was also interesting. The moon orbits an average of 239,000 miles from Earth. Torah equals 239 in Jewish gematria. So does Golden Gate. The Jewish faith believes the Messiah will arrive through the Golden Gate. Messiah equals 74 like Jesus. It's beginning in Oregon, the only state with a 74 gematria. Some of the numbers reported here are very interesting as well. 55%, 99%. Here's what else is interesting. If you take the phrase solar eclipse, it has a gematria of 433, another 33. 433 is the 84th prime number. Again, 84, very relevant to this nation. United States of America equals 84. States equals 84. Jesuit equals 84. The Jesuits are the Zionists that infiltrated the Catholic Church, starting the Masonic order within it. 84 is also relevant to the sun. Think about the day of the week that's named after the sun, Sunday. It was the Jesuits within the Catholic Church that made the Christian day of worship Sunday instead of the Sabbath day, Saturday. One of my brighter readers, J. Montz, he noticed that there's 84 constellations. I did not know that before. Very interesting. Again, eclipse equals 33. And look at this about the crucifixion of Jesus, supposedly at age 33. The Christian Gospels say that the sky was darkened for hours after the crucifixion of Jesus, which historians viewed either as a miracle or a portent of dark times to come. Using astronomy, later historians have used this mention to pinpoint the death of Christ. Some historians tie the crucifixion to a 1 minute 59 second. That's 119 seconds. All-seeing eye equals 119. Star of David 119. Master plan 119. 1 minute 59 second total solar eclipse that occurred in the year 29 CE. While others say a second total eclipse blocking the sun for 4 minutes and 6 seconds in 33 CE marked Jesus' death. A minute 59, it also reminds me of 159, New Testament 159, where the story of Jesus is. New Testament, the small way, 42, like we talked about, like Freemason, like 42-line Bibles, like 42 generations to Jesus. Astrology 42, a lot of astrology parallels with Christianity. The name Total Solar Eclipse also has gematria of 67, like Freemasonry, like blood sacrifice. Jesus Christ sacrificed on the cross, connected to a total solar eclipse. You know, we have this very interesting one coming up this summer. Remember how U.S. connects to death? Jesus' story of his death on the cross, connected to the solar eclipse. So, I mean, to me, it's just all, it boggles my mind. How can this all be? How can it line up this way? I understand how NASA can write their article so it syncs up perfectly. But just the way it works out with the moon and the dates of the past. In the Truman Show, if you've never seen this film, he lives in a giant dome that's an artificial world, and he doesn't realize it. He thinks it's a real sun and a real moon up in the sky, and he thinks the people around him are just like him. And he doesn't realize that everything in his life is being orchestrated, from the sun shining to the rain raining. At the end of the movie, when he starts to figure things out, everything starts to come undone. The sun sets off, the moon. You find out that the man who's running the show, the Truman Show, you find out that he's living up in the moon. The moon is the base. The moon is a base. And, if I found out that the moon, the reality of this moon in this world is it's a base in the sky, and we're governed over by a race of people that have created us, as like a slave race for down here on Earth, it wouldn't even blow my mind at this day and age. It would actually make a lot of sense about the things going on in this world that are completely nonsensical as they're explained to us. But I just find it so fascinating, Let me show you something about the Truman Show and that movie. Truman Burbank is the main character. The name Truman Burbank equals 156, and the film released on June 5th, the 156th day of that year. The film came out on the 156th day. If you write out 33 as a word, remember, eclipse 33, it's beginning in the 33rd state. 33 also equals 156. Important pairing. The film Truman Show, it's named after the 33rd president, Truman, who created the NSA, the CIA, all the things that are used to spy over us, watch over us. Very interesting, isn't it? Film named after the 33rd president, about a man who's being spied on, surveillanced his whole life. His life is a TV show and he doesn't even know it. The more I learn, the less I feel like I know sometimes, and the more questions I have, and that's the way it is for a lot of things, and that's the way it's supposed to be. So anyway, this information meant to make you think. Ask the same questions I'm asking, because we're only going to find the answers if we ask the right questions. All right, Truth Seeker, I think we covered it all. Remember the date. Mark it down, August 21st. It's a date to remember. Until next time.